Hello, people of the internet. This is Shaky Jake, and I really need a catchphrase. You are watching Disney's The Lion King, Simba's Mighty Adventure on the PlayStation, developed by Paradox Development and published by Activision in the year 2000, or 2001 depending on where you lived. And this is a game that I haven't played since 2003, 2004, so it's been about 15 or 16 years since I last played it. And I originally received this for my 9th birthday back in 2001. And even back then, I didn't think this game was anything particularly special. But because the recent Lion King remake has been released, I thought, what could I play to sort of celebrate the release of the remake? And because I've already played the good Lion King game, which was developed by Westwood Studios and published by Virgin Interactive, I had one other Lion King game left, and that was The Lion King Simba's Mighty Adventure. Now, there is a cutscene going on at the moment from the first film, but I am going to edit it out because I do not want to get copyright claims from the Disney overlords. And because this is a late PlayStation 1 era game, the quality of the clips aren't particularly great because they're going to be heavily compressed and have CD video and CD audio quality. But yeah, I saw the Lion King remake yesterday actually, because I saw it yesterday for me, but by the time I upload this it will have been several days since I've seen it. And it was an okay film. It's not going to be anywhere near as classic as the original, but it is a passable film. Certainly if you're a Lion King fan, it's worth going to see anyway. And that's the end of the clip from the film, so we can go back to the footage now. And oh god, the loading screen is spazzing out a little bit, so I'll make that a bit more tolerable for you, because it's a little bit seizure inducing at the moment. But here we go. The Lion King, Simba's Mighty Adventure, released on the PlayStation and also released on the Game Boy Color. That version I have never played. But here we go, The Lion King, Simba's Mighty Adventure. First thing we need to do is change the difficulty to medium, because why it's on easy by default I have no clue. I can't even remember if other Disney games of this era did that as well. Rafiki's I'll briefly show you. It's basically a place where you can play some mini games, one of which you have every time you boot up the game. The other 3 you have to unlock with collectibles. We'll play those as and when they roughly happen with the films, because this game doesn't just cover the first Lion King, it also covers the direct-to-video sequel, The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. Just checking to make sure I don't have any pre-existing saves, and I do not. So this game has 9 levels in total, 5 from The Lion King, and the remaining 4 are from The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, which was pretty notable at the time because no other game had really covered The Lion King 2 particularly. However, because I played a lot of the original Lion King game when I was a kid and I enjoyed it immensely, I wanted this game for my birthday at the time, but even then I wasn't particularly fond of it. I didn't think it was particularly great. I thought it was mediocre. I thought it was lacking in a number of areas, and it just feels less developed compared to some of the other Disney games at the time. If you were to play other Disney era games such as Hercules, Tarzan, A Bug's Life and Toy Story 2, all of those games I felt were well developed games. They played well, they were fun to play through, they had good replayability value at the time. This, on the other hand, didn't have that same sort of appeal to me, which is a shame because The Lion King is one of my favourite films ever made. But unfortunately I didn't think it was particularly great, and I completed it within 2 days originally when I first received it. So we have to get so many points per level, and that varies depending on what difficulty setting you put it on. And I will give this game some credit, I actually do like the original music that was composed for the game. So the main menu theme that's playing now, that's a good theme. And you'll hear some original music on all of the levels as well. Pride Rock, your average introduction level. Although because we're playing it on a harder difficulty setting, we won't have all the tutorial stuff, which is a benefit, to be honest.
Good morning. morning, Master Simba. Mufasa is waiting for you atop Pride Rock.
Okay, awesome. Let's see how this plays. Oh, the controls are worse than I remember. The issue is Simba's a little bit stiff to start off with, and then the moment he gains momentum, he just speeds off everywhere, and it's sometimes hard to slow down. There's a little bit of a delay there, but there you go. That's Simba's control scheme, the worst aspect of the entire game. I don't remember having this much trouble with it back in the day, and a random bit of lag there for no reason. And Simba will say ouch a lot at everything you crash into. There's Nala, who appears to be a duplicated Simba model, which I've only just noticed. And these tokens give different amount of points depending on what colour they are. These letters, if you collect all of the Simba tokens, they give you another clip from the film to play at the end of the level. And we've got enemies. Can we roll into this? Yes, we can. That gives you a token, which I think is randomly generated depending on how dangerous the enemy's counted as. They're going to be worth very little, whereas this might be worth a little bit more. Yes. Come on, Simba, you're a lion. You shouldn't get hurt by a ladybird. There are people I've noticed, because people have played this game on YouTube before, and a lot of people in the comment section will say that they're nostalgic for this and that they had a lot of fun playing it. Now, I'm not going to cheapen anyone's experiences. If you legitimately enjoyed this game, fair enough, I can understand why. But it doesn't feel that great. And even when I was 9 years old playing this for the first time, I felt disappointed by it. I think it was the first game I can remember that I was actually disappointed with playing through. And there's Mufasa, who looks a little bit stiff, and ironically enough actually sounds a lot like James Earl Jones. So if that isn't James Earl Jones' voice in this game, if it's an impersonator, then that person deserves a raise, because it's actually pretty close to James Earl Jones. But yeah, all the clips that are used in this game, very much like most PS1 games at the time, they've all been redubbed, presumably because Activision or whoever didn't want to pay the rights to have the original audio tracks. But that's fine. It's not too offensive. I can understand why that happens.
Checkpoint.
Zazu's the checkpoint, which is, that makes sense. It's perfectly fine. The only time it doesn't make sense is on one level later in the game, but that's just me being nitpicky. Can we kill this ladybird by roaring at it? Kind of want it to come back round. There we go. The biggest enemy this game has isn't the actual enemies themselves, it's the actual platforming and the jumps. Because sometimes you'll just over control Simba and then he'll just die, which can be really irritating.
Excellent.
But this game is easy to kind of bug out occasionally. Come on, kill the beetle, please. Thank you. I don't even care that I'm taking damage, because this game isn't particularly difficult. And there's Scar, who's got an unintentionally creepy idle animation. And it also doesn't make sense why he would give us advice to begin with, because if he wants to kill Simba, surely he'd be doing anything but giving him advice. But whatever, I'm not going to question this game's logic. These characters will also teleport to later parts of the level, because that's allowed apparently. I imagine the developers didn't want to model Simba's mother or Nala's mother or anything, just to give some variety. There's another collectible. Huge mice. And there's Scar. I think all these... Yeah, they've got an invisible wall around them. Okay. The only move I do like in this game, which is actually genuinely useful at times, is this pounce attack. It's essentially a double jump, but it does actually come in useful occasionally, particularly with platforming. The original game didn't have that, so I will give this game some credit with that. We got a random token here. What will we get? 50 points. Not bad. I think that's always 50 points, even though it implies it won't be. Oh my God, just kill the mouse. Here we learn to double jump normally, but I'm just going to do it to save time. Got trolled by a ladybird, thank you. Trying to decide which is better between the D-pad or the analog stick for this, because I think back in the day I would have played this with the D-pad, but now I'm trying to see if the analog stick's worth it, and right now I've switched back to the D-pad just in case. Because any difficulty this game does have, it's just with the controls more than anything else. The game itself is actually relatively straightforward and easy to complete, particularly compared to other Disney games at the time. Have we got all the points? I believe we have. Yes, we have. Cool. We got 2 new lives out of that. And I'm not going to promise to 100% this entire game because I'm not that bothered if I don't. All you get out of it are a couple of extra clips from the film, and I think that's about it, to be honest. I can't recall you getting anything else out of it. But anyway, let's talk to Mufasa, and that's the end of the first level.
You have only begun to learn, Simba.
And we've got another movie clip because we got all the Simba tokens, which again, I'm not going to show. But if you have played this game, you will definitely notice the differences in the voice acting because of it being redubbed. Although I swear Mufasa is still James Earl Jones, because that sounds eerily uncanny to the original film dialogue. But young Simba's definitely been redubbed. Actually, has the background music been redubbed as well? I don't know. Maybe I'm over-imagining it. All these clips look a lot blurrier than I remember them being. Even the original video wasn't as blurry as this. And we've completed Pride Rock. Relatively straightforward level. I think my plan for this is to record 3 levels a day. So I'm going to record the next 2 levels, then I'll take a break, then I'll record the next 3 levels, and then the final day I'll record the remaining 3, and then mix the mini games as and when they occur. One thing I do need to remember to do is actually save, because this game doesn't have any auto-save capabilities, so I need to make sure I do that before I forget, because I want to be able to start off the next part without too many problems. That's the end of the first level, and this is just going to be a filler let's play until I get back into the other games I'm playing at the moment and the other games that I'd rather play than this. But I figured I'd do this because of the recent film remake that's been released. So thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.